One New York City athlete is going for gold at this year's Olympics. Bronx native Salif Maneh crushed his competitors at this year's track and field finals. And now he's hoping to keep that momentum as he heads to Paris.
A couple weeks ago, jumped his first 17.
It's a hop, step, and one giant leap for Salif Maneh.
Here today, the 22-year-old.
The length of nearly 13 refrigerators. The 17.52-meter triple jump is what it took for Maneh to secure his spot in the 2024 Olympics.
I felt amazing. It was an honor to be able to represent my school, my family, the Bronx, everyone.
This qualifying jump was Maneh's personal best, more than 57.5 feet, beating his competitors by nearly 2 feet and making him the best triple jumper in the country.
On my last jump, I just had to let it all out. I had to really show them that I'm really from the Bronx.
The South Bronx native grew up in a Senegalese household and says it's the support of his immigrant parents that inspires him. The Muslim athlete says part of his pre-game ritual is praying and listening to voice memos from his father, who died from COVID during the height of the pandemic.
He was my #1 fan, and he's the first person I ever show my medals to every time I attained one.
Maneh's father worked as a dishwasher at a Rockefeller Center restaurant, and his mother is a hair braider in the Bronx.
It's very tough seeing parents struggle the way that they do and still be able to put food on the table.
Maneh says despite their struggles, they always supported his athletic goals.
Left arm, get the left arm back. Keep the speed.
Fairleigh Dickinson University track and field assistant coach Leroy Solomon spotted Maneh when he was just 14 years old at the Bronx High School for Medical Science.
I saw this little skinny kid with nothing but legs. His body was so small, I was like, that's an athlete.
And I just started jumping.
And he's been jumping ever since, following Solomon to FDU, where Maneh now has the most titles in the school's history. He graduated in May with a degree in civil engineering.
How many? 2 on each side?
Maneh and Solomon have now been training together for 8 years.
I never talk distance. We never talk place, because I know if he jumps the best he can, the distance is going to be there, and along with the distance is going to be the place.
The distance could win Maneh an Olympic medal, but for the 22-year-old Bronx native, it's a feat and a leap bigger than just himself.
And all the immigrants out there is just, like I said, just be patient, put in the work, and I promise you, your work will definitely show.
Fairleigh Dickinson triple jumper put on a show today.
Alexa Speciale, New York 1. These are wool fibers, not being made into clothes, but crafted into soft sculptures.
This kind of embodies like the essence of the nature of reality. This is how the fabric of life is.
Davina Sue has been creating art for nearly 2 decades, but now she has one of the largest audiences of her career, because her work is on display in Battery Park City, sprawling across 400 feet of construction fencing along Wagner Park.
People can see and not have to know the behind story, but just kind of immersed in it.
It's part of a new program by the city's Department of Buildings and Department of Cultural Affairs. It gives property owners the chance to display artwork on their temporary structures like sheds, scaffolding, and fences, if those structures are up for more than 90 days.
This was an opportunity to create artwork on a place, on structures that were not very attractive in our everyday environment.
When a property owner is applying for the temporary structure permit, they are automatically enrolled in the City Canvas program. Property owners have the option to opt out of the program if they're not interested in artwork. The Department of Cultural Affairs says the main goal is to create more opportunities for public art across the city.
We see scaffolding as infrastructure to put something else on it, to sort of cover it up, to sort of make it more beautiful, to make the city, and as a result, making the city more livable, more attractive.
Business owners have the choice to pick from participating artists or have the city choose for them.
What would you prefer to see? Bare scaffolding or a beautiful artwork covering that? So we see it as infrastructure that is there for artwork, and we're capitalizing on that.
The work that has more of a center focal point.
For Sue, she's capitalizing on the platform, adapting her fiber art to a different medium, taking photographs of her work and digitally manipulating it for canvas.
Use computer to create these digital patterns that otherwise I would not be able to do to make the work in this scale.
Now with her work spanning 400 feet, Sue hopes her colors and patterns give passersby something they can take with them.
I hope people to see this work and feel energized and feel a sense of care, connection, and curiosity.
Alexa Speciale, New York 1.
People run these trails every day, but now there's a proposal that could change Fort Greene Park, and Brooklyn residents are voicing their concerns.
Drilling, pounding, construction. Those are the sounds of Fort Greene Park. Used as a peaceful escape from city life, it is now often a reminder of a quickly changing neighborhood.
Before they had a backdrop, which we call the prison wall of high-rises behind there. You could see the Statue of Liberty, you've got light, you've got air.
Marilyn Fleming has been using the park for 32 years. Now, she fears losing her cherished oasis. She says she's seen the impact when the city makes changes around the park.
They want green space, but they knock down trees every time they build something.
For Fleming's neighbor Nancy Pascal, the park has played a significant role in her family's history.
I raised my son in this park. I taught him how to ride his bike in this park. It's a park of community. I just hope that the changes will be inclusive of everybody.
That's the hope of city leaders. For the first time, the Department of City Planning is proactively promoting guidelines for development around the Long Island University and Brooklyn Hospital Center, knowing the two private entities have desires to expand in the near future.
We thought that rather than sit back and wait for them to propose something to us and have the city respond, that we should put out some guideposts as to what we would like to see in the public interest.
The guidelines aim to help the centers understand the needs of surrounding city-owned sites while also supporting the streetscape. Brooklyn Hospital Center's plans include a new cancer center, an ambulatory surgery center, and outpatient diagnostic centers. LIU has begun the development of new academic spaces and residential buildings with plans to do more. Gorodnick says he has consulted stakeholders including the community board, representatives of the university and hospital, and council members. But the Fort Greene Park Conservancy says they have not been included in the conversation.
We're not anti-development. We are really concerned specifically with what is impacting the park. What we would like is a process that's more collaborative from the get-go. Let's talk. Let's come up with creative solutions.
The Conservancy wants to shed light on issues, including having towers built adjacent to the park, blocking sunlight that is already diminishing. And neighbors agree.
We're also losing some of the beauty. You used to be able to stand on the steps of the monument and see the Empire State Building. There's now a building blocking that view.
The City Planning Department says this redesign is still in its early stages. It does plan to get feedback from the local community, but is waiting for official submissions on the redesign.
These private applicants, at some point on their timeline, will come forward with proposals, and then we will be in a full public review process.
But for those who call this park their backyard, it may be too late by then.
When you forget nature, you forget everything. And it doesn't matter what you build, it will not have a heart. Because this Fort Greene Park has provided the heart for this area.
An area that won't change overnight, but will very likely change again. City planning officials say private applications are expected to be submitted within the next 2 years. Alexa Speciale, New York 1.
On a normal day, I'm able to run 2 to 3 miles easy with no problems, even though it's heat and humidity. This time around, I only was able to do 2 miles because the air quality was so bad, it made it difficult for me to run. And I felt lightheaded after the run. I started running back in 2018, road races. I did running from obstacle courses back in 2015. That was due to my dad's being sick. So once he got sick, I started relying on something to get me to get out there, be active, take my mind off of it, focus my attention on the positives. So I used running as that. Being that this is gonna be my 7th marathon, I've experienced all types of weather, all types of changes in the weather. Even last year during my training for Berlin Marathon and New York City, it was hot, but I never had problems with the air. So this year, it's a little bit different.
With the heat, which is the biggest concern, you can adjust for that, you can acclimate to that, you can run early in the morning. You can't do anything about air quality. I am concerned I need to keep up my mileage. If I don't get to keep up my mileage, it's not going to be great for me come November. I ran as a kid and I started again when I was 45. It's my 4th one this year and I'm desperately trying to qualify for Boston.
My entire training last year was all outside, so moving inside is just never ideal, and you definitely have to adjust your expectations of what you're able to do, but you got to get the miles in, so it is what it is. But it's hard. The motivation's low when the air quality is bad.
In the event that the weather or the elements are not in my favor, or is just too uncomfortable, I'll just have fun with the race. Because it's an experience unlike anything else. You can focus on the race, you can focus on the time, or you could just have fun and get a good time and enjoy the experience.